All right, good afternoon, evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. This is the Kennedale City Council regular monthly meeting. We are at 405 Municipal Drive, Kennedale, Texas 76060, and obviously we're in City Council chambers. At this, Madam Secretary, can I get a call to order? Roll call. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I just called it to order, duh. It's the heat. It's getting to my...
No problem. All right. Mayor Brad Horton.
Present.
Council Member Place 1, David Glover.
Present.
Council Member Place 2, Thelma Kobeck.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Place 3, Kenneth Michaels.
Here.
And Council Member Jeff Norez, Place 5.
Here.
All are present except one.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. All right, so now we're going to have our invocation and pledges of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags. I'm going to ask Councilman Navarez to lead us in our invocation, Councilman Michaels to lead us in our pledges. If you'll please stand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please pray with me. Father God, we ask you that you bless your leadership of this city, Lord. We ask that you bless this city. We ask that you bless all our students who are returning back to school. May they have a wonderful year adjusting to the new schedule. May all the buses show up on time. And we ask that you go with our college students who are off here this week as they explore their life and be with their parents as well as they explore the new transition into their lives as well. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Pledge the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Moving on, we're going to enter our public comments section of the meeting, and the Kennedale City Council welcomes comments from the public. Those wishing to speak must sign in prior to the start of the meeting. Speakers may speak on any topic, whether on the agenda or not. The Kennedale City Council cannot act upon, discuss issues raised, or make any decisions at this time. Speakers under citizens' comments shall observe a 3-minute time limit. Inquiries regarding matters not listed on this agenda may be referred to staff for research and/or possible future action by the council. Madam Secretary, for the record, anyone signed up?
No, sir, I don't have any speaker slips.
Does anybody wish to sign up? Going once, going twice. Nobody's making eye contact, so I'm guessing that's a no. All right, so at this, we're going to move into our public hearing. And this is PZ case 25-09 to conduct a public hearing and consider a proposed zoning change from C2 General Commercial District and R3 Single Family Residential District to an I Industrial District for the properties located at 426 South Dick Price Road, 516 South Dick Price Road, 520 South Dick Price Road, 606 South Dick Price Road, City of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 76060. I've got 5:33 p.m. and we're going to open the public hearing. And do we have anybody wishing to speak at this time? Maybe some technical difficulties, bear with us. Nobody?
I'm sorry, sir. There's no one.
Oh,
to
you're
speak.
good, you're good. I just, anybody? All right, if nobody else is going to comment, we are going to close the public hearing at 5:34 p.m. And Mr. City Manager, did you have anything you wanted to?
No, sir. Nathan, or do you want to present, or are you good?
Evening, Mayor and Council. Sir, I do have a staff report I'm happy to present. We do have the applicants here as well. I believe they have they want to speak on the matter as well before council, and then afterward I can come up and provide or go over my staff report. That's okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but is this a presentation? Because I don't see it in our agenda packet. We're going to put it under public hearing? Okay.
Doing the green mark. Is that you? No, sir. Let's see. There you go. Gotcha. All right, squared away.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Apologies for jumping the gun earlier. It was a little bit ahead of time. What I would like to do this afternoon or evening is present to you a zoning case that we're proposing. My name is Chuck Marsh. I'm a professional civil engineer with Weaver Consultants in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Waste Connections. You may see a longer name in the application. That's Texas Regional Landfill Company LP, formerly known as ISITX Landfill LP. It's all under the Waste Connections umbrella. For the purposes of this application, I'll probably just refer to them as Waste Connections or the owner. This application is for 5 tracts in the very southwest portion of Kennedale and abutting Tarrant County. On the map here, you can kind of see in purple, this is where the facilities are located that we're looking to rezone. In brief, what we're proposing is there's 5 tracts that are currently zoned C2 and R3. We're proposing to change those to industrial with a special exception. The reason behind that is this will allow the facility to install what's called a citizens drop-off center, which if you think of a series of dumpsters or things that will keep citizens who want to drop material off at the C&D landfill from having to go into the landfill. It's a matter of convenience just for citizens. We are not proposing to change any of the entrances off of Dick Price Road. We'll utilize the existing entrances. And I used a term there, I want to make sure I define C&D landfill. That stands for construction and demolition waste. It's not the municipal solid waste or your garbage landfill that's located just north of this site. In total, we're looking to rezone about 10 acres. It's currently unplatted. We do have a plat application in with the city that's under review. And again, as I noted, there at the bottom, there's the owner's name there, which is all Waste Connections. From an aerial view, in green are the tracts to be rezoned. The 5 tracts there do make up the edge of the city limit of the city of Kennedale. Side by side, what we are proposing on the left is the existing condition. You can see the C2 and R3 zone properties. On the right, combined into a single I zone. We're proposing to put in 1 building, which is going to be an office and a break room for the employees there, demolish a little bit of an existing building. What we're proposing is consistent with Kennedale's future land use plan. I've indicated on this map, you can see in the middle of the west side of the property where this is located. It's all industrial, so that matches up with what we're proposing. In summary, we want to utilize the existing driveways, relocate the main entrance about 800 feet north, which is a safety improvement. We're going to put in about a 4,900 square foot office and break room, demolish about 25 linear feet of a building, and minimally impact Dick Price Road. Quick conceptual layout of the office we're proposing: offices, break rooms, locker rooms, conference rooms. Finally, one more issue to bring up in the spirit of disclosure. We do have an application with the TCEQ, that's Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, for a potential transfer station. That is not part of this application, and if approved, that transfer station will not be located in these properties, but do want to bring up that that is in the works, or is being applied for currently and under review by TCEQ. To evaluate potential impacts to Dick Price Road, because we are sensitive to traffic on Dick Price Road. In fact, all of Kennedale traffic is a big issue. We wanted to evaluate potential traffic impacts on the road. We did do a traffic impact analysis. We ran that by TxDOT. TxDOT had no comments at this time. On a daily basis, we're proposing, if this transfer station is approved, again, I want to be clear, if the zoning is approved, that does not change zoning, or that does not change traffic at all. If the transfer station, which again, separate application, but just trying to be complete here, is approved, we're looking at about 1,100 total daily trips. It's two ways. Truck comes in, that's one trip. Truck leaves the site, that's two trips. Total of about 1,136 vehicles per day being added to the roadway system. Just for reference, in traffic engineering, we generally look at what's called the peak hour. We assume about 10% of the total daily load occurs during the peak hour. So that's about 120 vehicles in an hour. If you think about it, that's one truck every 30 seconds. So in general, it's not a big impact. It is vehicles, there are numbers there, and that is partly why the facility currently contributes to a fund to the city of Kennedale for roadway maintenance. That will continue under this proposal, but again, just to offer you a complete picture of all that's going on, I wanted to bring up that traffic piece as well. So that's the short side of my zoning presentation. If there's any questions at all, I'm happy to field them. If there's something I can't answer, I've got the applicant here to help fill in the gaps. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor and Council, I'd like to direct you to the staff report, and I'll just go over various aspects of it. So to date, as we heard, that the existing site is used as an entrance further south. They have plans again to relocate that further north, and as far as I believe, they're going to be removing that one of the entrances off of Dick Price and locating that further south, further north. The area where it currently is, there's an incline there, which kind of makes visibility sort of a hazard. So moving it further north would improve visibility. In a nutshell, we've got 5 parcels out there that they own currently. They're zoned commercial 2 with a oddly zoned R3 right in the middle of it. There used to be a residential home there. That's no longer there, but it's still currently zoned R3. So part of what the plan is first rezone to I industrial on all of these parcels, and then they have a plat application in that's going through review, and it will consolidate these 5 tracts into one parcel. Again, their operations themselves, as far as the landfill, won't be in the city of Kennedale. Simply the scales, the office building will be in the city of Kennedale. So part of the request, again, is to rezone for that. We looked at consistency with our future land use plan, and it's consistent with our future land use plan through and throughout. In fact, this particular part of Dick Price shows it all purple, I industrial, and so the vision is to see that part of town continue as industrial. We have that currently zoned right across the street. If you're familiar where the old Castle facility is, there's a couple parcels there as well, obviously zone compatible with that as well. So again, consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use plan, we looked at the economic development goals of the comp plan, which are this: Kennedale will have a strong, resilient economic base. And how do we meet that goal? The objective 1 is continue to capitalize on a strong industrial employment workforce to leverage demand for more destination-based retail, restaurant opportunities. So in a nutshell, the more we can do to support our industrial partners and businesses in town, helping them meet their goals, it's going to bring more demand for, again, destination-based retail, restaurant opportunities. If you can imagine Dick Price further north, as it ties into the Parkway, Bowman Springs, we've got activity out there. So how do we support that particular area for any future development and businesses? We know Dick Price is a major component to the success of other parts of town. And so with that, happy to answer any questions that you have. for staff, and as well as I can bring the applicant back up here and answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Any questions, comments?
I have some questions. So I understood the gentleman who made the presentation to say that one of the things they're planning to do is have basically some dumpsters so that people could drop off waste, and a certain type of waste that goes in this landfill. So one of the problems that the people on Dick Price Road experience as a result of the landfills is trash along Dick Price. I can see that this could potentially increase that problem. What is the plan for that? And I don't know, City Manager Hull, this might be something to direct toward you. Nathan, it might, I don't know, but who can answer that?
I'll take a shot at it. Thank you for the question. You are correct. There is trash that happens along Dick Price Road. And this particular applicant and that organization are the ones that get it cleaned up. And so they can speak, I'll actually have them come up to explain their operations on cleanup that at their expense go to improve Dick Price Road. The city, at times, will go and pick up trash when needed if we get a call. But most of the street sweeping that you see out there, that's all done by this particular operator.
Well, I think most of the people who live on Dick Price Road would tell you that the street sweeping very often does nothing but stir up the dust. I'm talking about specifically picking up the trash. And at one time, if I'm not mistaken, there was supposed to be an agreement that that would occur and that the landfill would be responsible for that. So I'm thinking that any kind of agreement about rezoning or any of this, that needs to be addressed. But it needs to be
Understood.
enforced.
A component of the land use, it would be separate from any nuisances that occur at that location. I'll tell you, to date, our office receives, I can't think of a single call that I've gotten about trash in recent months. I will say again, I think it'd be beneficial for the applicant to come and speak to that, but to speak to the other point about a drop-off facility, from what I understand is the idea of rezoning to I-industrial won't permit that by right, but will offer the opportunity for them to apply for a special exception for the Board of Adjustment for what we would call as a transfer facility. Now, I don't believe anything that's dropped off there is going to go into this particular site. It's simply a convenience location. Again, I'll have the applicant speak more to that and answer your question about the trash along.
Well, I'm not finished.
Sure.
So also, I heard the presenter say that if the transfer station is approved at some point in the future, and I'm sure that's in the plans, that you were looking at approximately one truck every 30 seconds as far as an increase. And apparently, sir, you didn't think that was very much. How many people in here have actually driven down Dick Price Road on a regular basis? Because I do every day. And I can tell you, it is a mess. And it is a mess in large part, not exclusively, I will say that, but in large part because of some of those trucks. So I'm not sure how much is paid into that maintenance fund, but again, I'm sure that the people on Dick Price would really like to see there be some plans generated to address that, because it's becoming dangerous.
I think there's other things that need to be addressed too about the street sweeping and stuff like that, because we've had a lady that lives on Dick Price Road that she brings up bags and bags of nails and screws that they sweep into her driveway. So my suggestion would probably get a magnet and start picking these screws and nails up, because myself, I avoid Dick Price like the plague, because every time I go down it, I pick up a nail.
And some of us don't have the luxury of being able to avoid it.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and again, thank you for allowing us to be here today. My name is Gary Bartles. I'm Region Engineer with Waste Connections, and the Fort Worth C&D landfill. First of all, let me appreciate all of your questions and concerns, and I try to respond to them one at a time. And I'll start with the initial one, and that is the concern about waste and trash along Dick Price Road. We as a solid waste facility are obligated by permit and do perform trash collection of a minimum of once per day along Dick Price Road and within 2 miles of the entrance of the facility. You may or may not be familiar with seeing our people out there, but they're out there every single day. We have that we have that already incorporated into our compliance requirements with the state, and we are thereby regulated by this TCEQ for that as well. So we have people out there every single day policing and monitoring that. Does it mean that at any given time you're not going to see some waste there? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean at the end of the day that everything is removed, but we police that once a day and pick everything up at least once a day that's there in the path, and you'll see us out there every day that we have operation out there. If you haven't seen us, our folks are out there with their vests on and in a very unsafe environment, but working those ditches and collecting that waste. So we already have that obligation, and we fulfill that on a daily basis. Second question regarding street sweeping. We also have on staff our own street sweeper that has both a plow in the front, a sweeper in the middle, a magnet to the rear that is intended to minimize and reduce any potential impacts our operation has on Dick Price Road. And we also utilize that equipment not only for ourselves, but for our neighboring facilities, the quarry adjacent to us. We're the only ones that actually have that or do that activity. Granted, we are a contributor and we accept that responsibility. In addition to our own equipment, we also hire third-party contractors to sweep. And I'm not sure if that's daily or daily. That equipment actually is equipped with component that picks up material. So our equipment is more so directed to clear object, clear mud, clear dirt, and has the magnet with it. Is not going to pick up everything behind us, but we pick that up along the way, and then we supplement that with our third-party contractor, a typical street sweeper you see going up and down the highway, and they'll make multiple runs up and down Dick Price Road on a daily basis. Again, we're the only ones that do that. Granted, we are a contributor, and we take that seriously. And anytime that we have or anyone expresses concern or issue, we'll take special effort to go back out. If there's a complaint or a concern, we take those very seriously and we address those. So that's how we address those concerns now. Again, we can't be responsible for everybody's everything, but we try to do our part to facilitate that. Above and beyond that, and you mentioned you were questioning what that contribution was. We currently contribute 37 cents per ton of every ton of waste that goes in our facility. And that escalates at a CPI on an annual basis. So it's about $170,000 a year currently. And over the last 10 years, we've contributed over $1.5 million to the maintenance of Dick Price Road as a result of our operation there. We're happy to be the only contributor to that fund and for maintenance along that road. So reasonably, we have and create an impact, but we also feel very strongly about our commitment to the community and how we have and are continuing to contribute. But we're also humble enough to know that we're not perfect and that we're open to scrutiny, and we're always striving to get better. So if there are issues, concerns, we're open to hear them. We've got our management team is here today to hear what you have to say so that they understand what your expectations are above and beyond what we already commit to.
Regarding the dumpsters that you're proposing to put in there, that people would just, I'm assuming, come up, drop stuff off and go. How do you plan to monitor those so that somebody theoretically does not, I don't know, drop a biohazard or something toxic in there? I mean, there are residences in proximity to where you're talking about. So what's the plan for that? Is it closed-circuit TV? Is it going to be physically monitored? What is the plan?
Yeah, so absolutely, great question, and this is and not only expectation, but a requirement of ours as well at every single disposal facility that we operate, whether it be a landfill transfer station or a drop-off location for the state of Texas. And so the access is controlled, number one, via the entrances that we're proposing to move further north to make them more highly visible and safer than the current location. But each vehicle that comes in then has to cross over our weigh station, if you will, or our vehicle scales. And in collaboration with those vehicle scales, we have cameras and so forth monitoring the equipment. But above and beyond that, every employee that works for our company, including those people that operate that scale facility, are required to be certified by the state for waste certification, identification, hazard identification, and so forth, so that each and every position's responsibility is to monitor that waste, know what wastes are unacceptable, whether it be batteries, oil filters, biohazards, and so forth. And we do that now, and we would continue to do that. This facility that we would potentially put there is simply intended to create a more, we would call it a convenience station, a convenient location for residents to drop off their MSW without having to enter into a disposal facility with their automobile. That's in a nutshell. It's a expressed need that we've heard in the past that we don't offer now. Any vehicle that comes into our C&D landfill now has to go to the active area of the landfill, in other words, off-road. And so it's not a very nice place to take an automobile or your family pickup truck that's not designated for something like that. So this convenience station is to provide an additional offering to the neighborhood that they don't currently have. So that, and then we monitor that. We monitor that with cameras, to your point. We have cameras throughout, but again, our people are trained to screen every load of waste that comes in, inquiring questions, making sure that loads are visible. And then anybody that's working the area where waste is offloaded is also trained on that waste screening, so they further screen if somebody gets past. In other words, they have something tucked up under, they dump it out. We have eyes on that waste as well. And then for an area where there's equipment operating, that operator is the third line of defense. So we use cameras, the scale attendants, the personnel working the active area, and then the equipment operators. And it's extremely critically important to us. We do that on a daily basis, but we also reject waste that's unacceptable. And these guys can attest to it. When that happens, when that's occurred, we isolate material. We identify what the risk or potential hazard is. We keep people away from the area, and if need be, we will have the appropriate personnel come and extract or remove that type of material. In the case of, say, a red bag or infectious waste or so forth, and we would do that. Same thing. We'd isolate, protect that area, investigate, bring people in to remove if necessary.
One final question. I keep hearing about this relocating an entrance access further north. Where? Where specifically are you looking at?
Can you bring this presentation back up? So there are currently five access points to our property off of Dick Price Road from the very north end to the very south end.
Thank you.
The two to the north are lightly used now. The two in the center are the entrance and exit to the facility, and the one to the south is more of a construction use access point. So you'll see here when we pull this up, thank you. Let's see if I can. Okay. See, Are you able to see that on your monitor there?
Yes.
So this right here is the current site exit, or entrance, excuse me, this right here. That's how vehicles come in, and they go to the south to our inbound scales. This is our exit road. This is where all the vehicles exit. And this is the top of the hill. So as we talked about moving the entrance and exit to the north, we would abandon these as access points for heavy vehicles. This one would go away, this one would go away completely. And then there's a access point here and an access point here. We would simply improve those, come back to the city, do driveway improvement permits to do that, and improve these two access points here. And again, this one essentially would service a few automobiles just for site personnel, so it'd be very lightly used. And this one would be eliminated altogether. There's one more further to the south. I don't know that we have anything here that shows that, but here you can see this entranceway. We currently utilize that as we bring in containers for repair. We have a container repair area there, so we use that one quite regularly. And then this one right here is extremely lightly used. We don't use that one much at all. So we would literally be taking these 2 points, and this one would become here, and this exit would move up here. And again, the advantages to that from a safety perspective is that there's good solid visibility for both of those for quite a distance, whereas the existing exit, our entrance road is just over the crest of the top of a hill, so there's somewhat of a blind access to that current entrance road that we recognize. We're trying to improve that.
So you're talking about north of Linda Road and south of the county road?
That is correct.
How close to the county road?
I guess one primary property and you know, that's part of discussions we've had with the city as well is controlled access in and around that area. We recognize that there may need to be some additional work done there. And again, this isn't, I mean, the only thing we're here tonight for is to try to get the rezoning done. But we recognize, and we'll be back to you all with our applications for driveway permit improvements and so forth. So we recognize that this isn't our last meeting to discuss this. What I also want to impress upon you is that we do have this application in with the TCEQ, as Chuck had mentioned earlier, for a potential MSW transfer station. If that goes through, then we will need these access points to the north. And that's when we come back to you as that progresses. The permit's currently in with the TCEQ, it's under review. And you know, we do anticipate getting approval for that application here yet this year. But again, that doesn't mean we're going to take action and move forward. This is something that could happen in 10 years, it could happen in a year. But again, we're trying to be as transparent as possible with you all to understand that, hey, these are our plans. This is what it all could entail. And if it does, these are the reasons why we would relocate the roadways and so forth. So that's our goal here tonight, is just to really just open up the book so you guys can see it, ask the questions you're asking, hold us accountable as we expect to be, and you know, meet back up when there's another action to take place.
Thank you.
You bet.
If you'd like, I can provide some color on the traffic question you answered, or you asked earlier.
Yes, please.
Absolutely. I realize I made a conclusive statement about no adverse impact and provided no context to that conclusion, so apologies for that. In traffic engineering, there is assigned what's called a level of service. It's a grade, essentially, for how a roadway reacts as it in terms of capacity. The way we reach the conclusion of no adverse impact is by applying the absolute maximum amount of traffic potentially that could be accessing this future transfer station onto the roadways at the what would be, from a traffic standpoint, the worst possible time. Then we evaluate the level of service. So we take essentially a worst case scenario and see how that impacts things. If it changes the grade from A to B, B to C, whatever, then we have an idea of there is an impact. And what we found is that there was not a change in grade. So that is how we got to the conclusion of no adverse impact. There's a lot that goes into that, a lot of assumptions that were made to make this condition that we analyzed as difficult on the transfer station development as possible. And that's because we understand and did not intend to minimize the impact of even a single additional truck. I realize that Dick Price is a very busy road. Maintenance and capacity are going to be the heralds of any application that goes on that road. So I can say that the addition of this proposed traffic, and again, this traffic does not just get turned on as soon as the application, were it to be approved, gets okayed by the TCEQ. There's a ramp up usually over years because 1,500 or 3,000, however many tons of waste are not immediately available to even go to the transfer station. There has to be contracts and routes. There's a lot of infrastructure that has to be in place before that goes. So it is not just a switch and now there's suddenly 1,200 more vehicles on the roadway. So there's time to evaluate this. There's time to look at maintenance and roadway improvements. I know there is a plan at some point to have Dick Price Road to a median divided 4-lane roadway. There's also potential improvements for further 3-way stop signs that we looked at to further calm traffic in the area. All of this potentially is how we see things from a traffic perspective. So I hope that answered your question. I apologize for running right through to the conclusion.
With all due respect, sir, I'm pretty sure that the people who live on Dick Price Road and are dealing with that traffic already and dealing with the issues of the waste would probably disagree with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And as someone who has lived in that area for decades, I can also tell you that sadly, they do not often complain because many times they don't feel like they will be heard or that anything will happen. So that is why you got the questions you got.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for those. I do appreciate them.
I'd like to add one more complaint that I've got received. I think we've corrected the problem last year. Every time y'all use this street sweeper, y'all create a berm on the side of the road. That means there's no way for this water when it rains to get off and go into the ditch. So I've had people call me and said that they've hydroplaned at night at 5 in the morning when it's raining. Is that something that y'all should be addressing since y'all are sweeping all the dirt to make this berm?
Shocking. Again, I appreciate the question, and it's a real one. We have consistently owned up to our responsibility there on Dick Price Road. The challenge that we've been faced with is putting our equipment out on the city's road and the county's cleanup effort there. And so we have offered and made commitment to participate in whatever method means is appropriate. But quite honestly, having our heavy equipment out there to address that berm, as you will, is not what was determined to be the most favorable by all parties involved. But we participate in that. We take whatever position we can. I mean, we have equipment. It's not that we can't do that. But again, it's a maintenance, it's a portion of road that's maintained by the county on behalf of the city, as I recall. And so we've politely participated whichever way we can to do that. But putting our heavy equipment out there isn't one that's been welcomed. But we take the dirt, the soil, and we'll participate in that in whatever means is deemed appropriate. We have no problem doing that because we do different things at different places. But part of the challenge, and I know you can appreciate this, is the traffic control while you're trying to do a road maintenance effort and the safety of the people there. And so admittedly, the county is much better equipped at doing that than we are, but we'll participate in whichever method and means they will accept. And at this point, they haven't wanted us out there to do that. But we've we've offered and we've, we've taken the material. So I completely understand it. In fact, if you go further south of us to some of our neighbors, you'll see that's even more prolific. So we try to do everything we can to remove soil again by bringing those street sweeper in to try to pick up some of that. But we recognize that that's there, and we acknowledge that is there, and we'll participate. However, the road and street department allows us to do that. So if it means calling to duty our equipment, we're not shy to do that. We have the ability to do it. Just, again, because of the safety reason, we've been asked to allow those that are more equipped with managing traffic during a maintenance event to do that. Does that answer your question?
I mean, it answered my question, but the point of it is we pay the county to clean y'all's mess. So that's how I look at it. So we pay, the citizens pay for that cleanup.
Yep, understood, sir. And I think that's part of the reason why we pay you, the city, for our traffic going into the facility as well. And that I'm hopeful that you see that that's part of our compensation to allow for those activities to occur.
So it sounds like we need maybe some ongoing communications with your team and the city around some of these issues that have come up tonight over the zoning change. Because I think the zoning change is probably okay. I think it's more that some of these other concerns have gone maybe unaddressed or under-addressed over the last couple of years or so. I do have a question. It's more of an action item, I think, for the city manager, and that would be for the fund itself that they're paying into. Can we get confirmation, not tonight, but can finance get it back to us before the TECQ conversation comes up about whether that's a dedicated fund that fund is reinvested back into Dick Price, or does that go into the general fund for maintenance of public works?
It does go to pay for a bond that resurfaced Dick Price.
Okay. Question maybe for the gentleman here. If the transfer station is approved, do you have any estimates on how much the fund will increase per year? You mentioned it's paying about $170,000 per year now. How much more would that potentially go up if you have a ballpark?
Yeah, it's per ton, right? So whatever the, say an additional, just say 100 tons a day, you got 5 days a week, that's 500 tons times 40 cents, so $2,000 a week. Okay, so, is that, do that right?
I'll let the finance guys kind of weigh in on that. And if you knew off the top of your head, that would be.
Yeah, no, I don't. But what I'm saying is that to Chuck's point, it's going to be incremental over time. And the transfer station itself, I think the application is 3,000 tons a day. Now, what that means is that's maximum capacity. The way that permits for transfer stations are done in the state of Texas, you're requesting essentially a maximum. That's a really high number compared to what we would expect material to come in at. We don't have anything near that as far as what would go in there, but it's also intended to try to help service the community for the future. In any event, say it's 1,000 tons a day, right? You got 5,000 tons a week. 1,000 tons a day is $370 a day. Times 5, you're looking at $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 a week.
Okay.
Times 50, so that math. But it just goes, and you can really just take that. We don't have a perceived quantity that we expect to go through there at this point in time. And in fact, we're going through the permitting process. We haven't made a decision on whether to build it or to operate it yet. But again, we'll be back to you because we're going to need those driveway permits to be able to develop that facility to move that forward. And we understand you want some projections. I don't have those with me right now.
And that's okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. So I think before you come back, maybe operationally, there could just be some changes to just how we can communicate issues to you. Sounds like the residents on that road need a hotline or something else that they can call, text, email to say, there's trash in my ditch. Please come get it. It's not mine. something to that effect.
Absolutely. And I mean, our managers that are here today that are there on a daily basis were ready, willing, and able to offer up their telephone numbers.
Doesn't need to be there.
as an
There
access
just needs to be
as well.
probably a system put in place where our residents can contact your team, and just that way you can probably trend it to say, okay, we had a spike and then it goes down, or maybe there's a
Absolutely.
racially or seasonally there's an issue there. I did one other question though before you dive into that. I'm saying before we come back for the driveway and other things, maybe we address that. For the dumpsters themselves, one of the things that we've ran into is since we signed the contract with Frontier, we've lost the ability to go to the landfill. With the dumpster you're putting out front, is how you said it's still going to go through the scales, or is that going to be a different means of measurement? So does that mean meaning before we could take our water bill, we go to the landfill, we could get one free dump a year. We've lost that ability now. And residents are upset about that, justifiably so. Are the dumpsters going to be cheaper than the full price of driving into the landfill, which has gone up and up over the years? Or is it still the same rate per ton to dump into the dumpsters?
Yeah, we have
an alternative for our residents to use.
We haven't established that. Again, we're trying to get the right to do it, but we haven't established like rates or anything like that for what that would cost, because we're not currently doing that either, right? So we don't have an established rate for somebody to come in and use our containers now. But we do all sorts of different types of receipt of waste. Some are, as you would say, utility bill. We've done those types of things before. We also have pay for use. So, we haven't set that though. We haven't set any rates. We haven't set any cost.
Okay. Like I said, I'm okay with the zoning thing. It's just like they're operationally, we've got some hurdles we need to work out between now and our next meeting. So thank you for the time.
Yeah, and we're committed to meeting with the city manager's office and setting up whatever protocols we all deem appropriate for that. It's not, again, it's common for us to do that. If there's concerns, we're gonna address them head on. So we have no issue with that.
Any further comments, questions? And just as a reminder, the council will not be taking action on this tonight. It'll be on the agenda at the next 27th.
To clarify, we're going to put on a consent agenda next time? Yeah?
We can put it on consent, or we'll put it on individual consideration.
Okay. I guess my only comments on it is I'm with Mr. Glover on here. It's just the zoning change so they can replat, and I'm okay with that. All of that, and it sounds like the improvements they're going to be doing eventually is going to beautify the area and help move traffic. I think the bigger issue that we need to discuss, and we've had this discussions before, is Dick Price. We do need to address that, and it sounds like if they're moving and shaking, that we need to make it a higher priority with the city, at least make some noise with the county about it. I know we've discussed about meeting them halfway down that road, going all the way down, but maybe we can team up. And I mean, they're a state recognized landfill. There are TCQ grants to improve properties and things like that. So maybe we can team up with the county and go against county or the state to see if we can get some funding and put this on a higher priority than what we have it right now. Because the growth's coming either way, the impact's coming either way. Their sister company is going to go get those contracts with other cities, and those cities are growing. So the problem of Dick Price is not going to go away until we address Dick Price. So that would be my comments to you, Daryl, is when you do talk with them again, that should be the direction of the conversation, is how can we address Dick Price for the next 20 years? And then I would request that we put this on the consent agenda next time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, moving on to presentations. We've now got a Brinson benefits presentation. Ms. Jacobs, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for having me. My name is Jennifer Jacobs, and I am the Director of Client Services with Brinson Benefits. We've had the privilege to serve the City of Kennedale for a number of years, handling your employee benefit plans. And today I'm here to tell you about our renewal and our marketing process. This year, we evaluated and considered the full suite of employee benefits. But really the bulk of our attention was with the medical plan. Your medical plan is with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. You have two plans that are offered. And unfortunately, this year, the renewal from Blue Cross Blue Shield started at a 28.93% increase above current. So obviously, we had a lot of work to do. We administered the formal sealed bid process, as we do for all of our cities and counties. And the results of that yielded 4 total bids, including the incumbent. The remaining bidders that were requested to participate in the proposal declined the opportunity to do so this year. With the bids, though, that we did receive, we were able to negotiate that 28.93% increase from Blue Cross Blue Shield down to 15.9%. However, United Healthcare's proposal for a slightly improved benefit plan came in at 2.67% below current. So that's a minus 2.67%. For an annual savings of $38,182 annually. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the city move their coverage for medical to United Healthcare. In addition to the medical plan, we also have dental coverage with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, and that came in at a 3% increase proposed this year, which is a relatively small dollar amount. It's $1,231 annually above current for the dental plan. There's a whole other suite of benefits and services that the employees enjoy and participate in, but the rest of those came in with no increase this year. So the big decision before you today is the two things I just spoke about, moving the medical coverage to United Healthcare and choosing to accept Blue Cross Blue Shield's proposal of 3% increase on the dental. What questions do you have for me?
Mr. Mayor, I'll go first. Just a couple of minor ones. The pre-existing, like breast cancer payment, patients, cancer payments, things like that, there's no hiccup for them switching from Blue Cross Blue Shield to United?
That's a great question. No, by law, there's no pre-existing condition limitation.
Okay, and then if our employees have a dispute between insurance and doctor, there's a third-party company that will take care of that?
That's correct. There is a procedure through United Healthcare.
Okay, and then you said there was an improved coverage, which I'm pretty familiar with United. It's amazing, by the way. At a lot less cost, correct?
Yes, it's a 2.67% below what you're currently paying.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this insurance coverage just for employees, or is it also for retirees?
It's for employees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So at this, we're going to move into our regular session, and this brings us to our reports and announcements, and we'll start with updates from the City Council. Councilman Navarez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Earlier this month, I went to the EDC luncheon that was hosted by the EDC, obviously, and CB2 is the one, consulting is the one that arranged all that. It was a huge success, packed room. Our new neighbors over here with the tow company is the one that hosted it. They have an amazing facility. They really took literally the ugliest building probably in Kennedale. Am I echoing again? Probably one of the worst buildings in Kennedale, and extremely improved it. So I'm really excited that they were there, they're hosting it. And it was just really good to see all the big business owners around town, some new ones, some established ones, just get in the same room to talk about business in Kennedale. I did the Scouts end of the year party and got to hang out with Scouts so they could celebrate the end of the summer and the coming of the new year. The Rotary Club also hosted their district governor just last week, and it was a big success. We appreciate everybody that did show up in support of that. And then yesterday, I did the skeet shoot that was hosted by the chamber. That was my first time doing skeet shooting, and it was a blast. I've always wanted to do it, and I definitely will do that again next year, Mr. Hull. And then just a quick shout out to all of our college students, especially my daughter, my oldest, who's going off to college this week. and we wish them the best, and I know they're going to represent Kennedale well. I've been seeing pictures from parents all over town the last couple of weeks, and everybody's just said, you're going to cry, and just me talking about it, I'm starting to tear up. But just also pray for all the parents, especially us, as we transition to the next phases of our lives, as we've seen our children leave the nest. Thank you for my time.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
Also attended the EDC chamber lunch, or not chamber luncheon, business luncheon, and it was a great turnout, a lot of good businesses. It was hosted at Beard's Towing, and they've done a remarkable job remodeling that building. If anybody's seen it before, I mean, good golly. I also attended the Tarrant County Regional Transportation in downtown Fort Worth. I was in got to team up with Jeff in the Chamber of Commerce skeet shoot. We did good, so we'll practice. We'll get better by next year. And just a reminder that September 6th is Keep Kennedale Beautiful, Bring It, and we'll be out there from 9 to 11. Go to the city's website. You will see a list of items you can bring and a list of items not to bring. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Kobeck?
So I've been sick, so haven't had a chance to get out and do much, but I did want to just remind everybody that, it is August. Yes, people are going back to school, but also it's hot. And please practice heat safety if you're outside. Make sure that you're staying hydrated. Make sure you're taking breaks. Also, please don't leave children or pets or elderly people or anybody else who might be vulnerable in a car, in a parking lot, or anywhere else in this heat. Please don't.
Councilman Glover?
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended the EDC luncheon. I think that's been well covered now. The city manager and I, we met with the YMCA leadership and discussed a few topics. And one thing that came of that meeting too is I've introduced them to the owners of Texas Raceway. So we'll see if that relationship goes anywhere. And then I also met with Dr. Tinius of the Fellowship Academy. I know she's been reaching out to some of us, or all of us on council. Please meet with her. She has a lot of good ideas for how the fellowship can partner with the town in a lot of ways. So she's wished I'd never gone back to her. Please do so. And that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. In the interest of time, I'll just hand it over to the city manager here.
Yeah, Chief Peterson, you want to come up? We got a small presentation, just to give you an update where the fire department's remodel. We've had a lot of comments on social media, things of that nature, so we got a little update for you for that. And we'll have also Public Works Director come up and give us a presentation for infrastructure.
All right, thank you. Well, good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm excited to actually give you an update of what's going on at the fire station site. I can tell you that our project is well underway. Just to go back a little bit on where we came from, that is a picture of the station there when we were operating out of it. And that part of the station has been completely demoed to where it's just a completely open building with the tilt walls remaining. And you can see that the proposed plan has the extension of where we're building, which y'all are probably familiar with that, remembering when this was done a little over a year ago, I guess. We did move out of the station April 9th of this year, and we're currently at 705 East Kennedale Parkway at the Southwest Ambulance site, where we're leasing a building, and we have a bunkhouse trailer that we're utilizing for where they sleep and shower and continue their station operations. The building itself is housing our apparatus and ambulance, and we have a kitchen and day room in there, so we're doing all fire operations from there. Just looking at this floor plan, you can just see how much more we're doubling in size from what we had at that station. And then, of course, the rendering of the finished product, which I'll get on the timeline here and towards the end of this. These pictures were actually taken a little over a week ago, and some of them just last week. And if you went by there at all this week, already there's a lot of changes to those pictures. So work is really being done a lot. There's nothing going on currently inside the building, the existing walls there of that building, but all the dirt work is being done. Plans to put the plumbing in and then come back in with fill, and then the concrete foundation will be poured. So just to touch on the timeline of where we are, the project did start once we moved out. The demo started occurring May 5th, and of course, site surveys were done, silt fence was installed, and we completed that towards the end of May. And currently, as I was stating, that they're preparing for piers, the footings, the retaining wall for all this additional fill to put the foundation in place. We should be wrapping that up by the end of this month. And then the plumbing is being put in. We're expecting that. The timeline is estimated around September 18th. They'll finish up on that. And then in October, you should start seeing it go up after our foundation is put in and ready to have framing put on it. They'll start also working inside the current structure. So with that beginning in October, we're going to see a lot of changes almost daily as the station is constructed and going up. So again, the final rendering, we're looking at the timeline with Grossman, and it will be adjusted as we go along, but I'm not anticipating any really big delays. Weather should stay good. We'll see how the winter pans out, but by then, most of that building may be dried in to where they're just doing the interior work. So our estimated timeline to go back into operations out of that fire station is probably by July of '26. And I'm actually hoping that we see that sooner, but at least we're under that year mark of construction. Any questions on the fire station? I'm sure you got one.
I have one question. The front, I guess the driveway, I've been by there the other day, and I noticed that they ripped the parking lot out, the two approaches off of Reeves. You got the Clover Lane, and you have the Crestview. Are they going to pull that concrete out? Because I know in the past that's been mud jacked.
Yeah, I don't have a good picture of any of that, but as they get ready to do the foundation, all that parking, all that front pad surface is coming out.
Okay.
It's in pretty bad shape, and that'll just continue to prepare the rest of the facility for proper parking and layout of the site. That also includes the rear. All that rear area is going to change, and there won't be an exit off to Reeves any longer.
Do you think there might be any concerns? I know we're keeping the apparatus room, but when they start ripping concrete out on the front pad and the back pad, do you think there might be anything concerning underneath, like structurally, that they might have to do, like pour piers underneath it possibility?
Well, I know the apparatus bay itself has several cracks through it, and that'll be looked at pretty good because I do know where the engine was. There was some play to that area, I guess, and mainly on the drive going out on that front pad. When they remove that, they're obviously going to do some dirt work and fix all that up before they put down any new concrete. I hope that there will be, I'm sure there will be some inspection of looking at what it looks like underneath the apparatus bay without digging. But I mean, obviously, we're going to see some valleys or where previous fills were done. I understand in past years they had possibly put in some of the foam filler that hardens and fills those voids. So I'm sure we'll see that, but yeah, I make a drive-by almost daily just to see what's happening, where we're at. And I guarantee I'll be there when they pull those pads up, because I do want to see, and as much as they want to see as well, what we're faced with. Hopefully nothing.
Thank you, Chief, for the update. I've noticed on the west side, it looked like they were digging a swimming pool, but I know that wasn't in the plans.
Yeah. But when we're finished with it, it's going to be a very nice facility, state of the art, something we're going to be very proud of. And so there will be a planned open house to where we do the tours, and then the same thing, if there's any time that any of y'all want to go over there, just let me know and we can go see what's going on, especially as once we start going up and you can see some interior. All right. Now, any other questions on the fire station update?
How much do they anticipate the construction impacting school traffic in the area? Because I know we've got.
There, of course, will be some construction trucks when it comes time to move more concrete away, but I think really hasn't been a factor yet. Now, school hasn't been in session, but I haven't seen where the roadways were blocked by that. They're all on site, and then they load up and go. That's something I'll meet with Grossman Designs about, and we can, have that discussion as well. But I know they're not going to purposely block a road or for extended time, but there will be truck traffic moving through. Thank you.
Just one quick question, Chief. The plans at least will accommodate the ladder truck that eventually will come in, correct? We're not going to get the ladder truck and find it doesn't fit into our brand new fire department.
What's that about the ladder truck?
When the ladder truck comes in, it will fit inside.
It will fit. I checked and
I'm making sure
double-checked.
that we're not going to have that situation where, it's 6 inches too short or something like that. Okay.
Right.
That's all.
The bay doors are actually the height they need to be at. We are in good shape there. Even the length of the bay, they're pretty much double bays, so that one truck will fit in that entire length. If not, we'll have to buy that shorter ladder truck, I guess, but no, it's planned to fit. Now, we didn't drive one in there, but we've measured it out. Yes, sir. All right. We'll move on to a quick update on the brush truck that was ordered back in 2022. And we had a delay on that, on getting that chassis. In case you're not aware, it was really not pointing fingers or putting a blame on anything, but a 2023 chassis was ordered from Ford, and they canceled that order because they didn't plan it out to build enough chassis. So our order got pushed to 2024. So that was a delay. And from that, though, we do have a 2024 chassis, which did arrive to Wildfire, who's constructing our brush truck, on September 16th. So when it arrived, it then got in line with all these other departments that also had orders going. And we're just finally around to where I don't really recall when they started on it. It's been probably a couple of months. We got in the picture there's that rear part, the aluminum body that is being prepared for the chassis. That was done at a facility in Decatur, I believe. And so then they finally got married together, and the truck is now at Wildfire with that on it. The pump and tank are ready to go, and they're doing all the other updates to it. So we are looking at really a close delivery date of September 1st. I am going there Friday just to follow up and do some placement of where we want some of the tools put on there. And that last picture on the slide is the graphics that's going on the truck, and it'll pretty much match our fleet with our current engine and the ambulances. And this will replace our brush truck that we currently have. It's a 21-year-old truck, and it's been around a while, and it's kind of wearing out. So I'm shooting for September 1st. I'll definitely let you all know. There will be a show and tell, and we'll go from there. Any questions on the brush truck? And believe me, I'm finally happy too that after 3 years, we're getting that truck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
At
you.
long last.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Unfortunately, the fire chief, I don't have any pictures to show, but I'll give you all a brief update on all the infrastructures that we have going around the city right now. As of the date, our ground storage tank is in. All we are lacking is the piping connections, and we're projecting that this will be completed by the end of the month. So we just have to put in 2 valves and connect the pipes from the ground to the tank. Then after that is completed, we just have to fill the tank, pressurize it, and test it, and we are good to go. So we are still projecting like the first week of September to be online for potable water on the ground storage tank. Regarding our street project, Sweeney Hyatt has been paved. We just completed the surface course today. The county will be back Monday to do dress up, polish up the shoulders, but as of today, the street has been paved. We are expecting for them, based on what they told me, that New Hope Road was our next project. It's not canceled. They're going to be moving out and coming back sometime in November, which is a dinger for us because now we have to wait till November before they come back to start New Hope Road and then jump into Eden Road. So we are in a bind based on what the county is telling us. But that's where we are at with the street paving. Regarding the New Hope Road water rehab, we had a drawback on that because we had to order some gate valves, and that's been ordered, and they're telling us that it's going to be in by the end of the month. And we apologize for the street condition, but they are maintaining the road as best as they can. So they will be back out by the end of the month to finish that project, and it should take like about 4 days before the water line is intact, and then they will complete it with a permanent trench for the area that they disturb. Other projects we have, Briar Court Hillside Sanitary Sewer Project. Unfortunately, we had the project design completed. Unfortunately, the city of Arlington hit us with another piece of bad news that we have at least 100 feet of sewer line that's like about 50 feet upstream from our existing project that's right now sitting in the creek bed, and it's on the verge of collapse at any time. So we made a decision to go and make an amendment to the existing project that we have with Westwood. So they are right now revising their plans, and we have to conduct some more surveys to start back, and basically we're doing a change of scope to get Hillside and Briar Court project back online. We are still estimating to have it advertised by November, December of this year, go into construction no later than January, February of 2026. Our Interceptor project, that's from I-20 or Gilman Road all the way to the Texas Racetrack, that's online. We are 60% design, and we still anticipate to be in construction by February of next year. We plan to have it advertised in January, go into construction by February. Our Valley Lane Stabilization Project, that's still on hold because FEMA is on the right now reviewing our HAZMAP. So once we get a review from that, they should give us the funding to start that project. When that's going to be uncertain at this time. Do we need to talk about the Little School Road extension? So right now, that's where we at with all the current construction projects that we have online. Any question? Please free to drive down to our ground storage tank and have a look.
Christian, and then one of the projects you might mention might be this, but there was some question about a water main project that Arlington ignored for 2 weeks. I believe it's in Old Town. Is that one of the ones you were talking about? Maybe the one they're coming back at the end of the month?
No, that's on contract, that's a CDBG project on North Road, right? Is that what you're talking about?
And I'm sorry, I tried to look for the screenshot for it earlier to figure out which road it was, but I want to say it's Old Town somewhere. It's been, Broadway?
Oh, yeah, we had a leak out there.
Yeah, okay, that would be it.
Yeah, that
Can you give
was
us an
repaired.
update on that project?
We got that completed last week.
Okay, and what's left, just the road?
Yeah, just off the side of the road there.
To surface the road?
No, it's on Broadway.
I guess maybe I just need to go see it. There was some question about the project taking forever, and then the road still needs to be fixed over.
That's North Road.
Okay. Can you give me an update on that, or give everybody, because that's the talk of the town right now?
Well, we just spoke about that. Right now, the project is like 90% completed.
Okay.
We had a delay because we needed to get some valves.
That's the one you were talking about. Okay, that's what I want to clarify.
I don't know the reason why. I guess there's a shortage for valves. I'm not sure, but they told us 2 weeks. So now it's going to be the end of the month. And once they get the valve, it should take no more than about 3-4 days to get it complete, to get the actual water line in service, but then we'll have to come back and do a permanent trench for the road.
All right, thanks. I figured it was that project. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sure people are going to be expecting a brand-new surface street, but we're going to have that interceptor project coming there, which is going to be another trench. So it behooves us to wait until we finish all the utilities before we pave the road.
I got two questions. Question number one has to do with North Road. Who was the engineers on that project?
Shield Engineering.
Okay. And then the other one is going to be that, I guess, Basin A where the sewer is. You said there's 100 foot of, is that clay pipe, that 12-inch clay pipe that's going to collapse? Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I guess probably once we get the amendment back from Westwood, we'll provide a staff report to add additional funding for professional services from Westwood.
That's
And
it.
then
Thank you, sir.
I'll provide pictures for that.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Mr. Horton?
Thank you. So presenting the financials through July, we're a little bit over 83% through the year. Our property tax revenues, we can see we're at 103% of budget. Prior year at the same time, we're at just under 102%, so tracking the same there. Sales tax revenues at 80.8%. This time last year, we're at 73%. We're still a little bit ahead there. General fund expenditures, 74.8% of total budget. Our prior year was 77.6%, so we're spending at a slower pace than last year. Currently, we have 159 days in our reserve. That's 44%. Last year at this time, we had 104 days. So we are doing much better on our reserve at this point than we were same point last year. Our water sewer fund, again, I just want to remind everybody that we are a month behind. So in our report that we're at 69% of budget, this time last year we're at 77%. That's still within reason. On our water service sales, sewer sales, it's 78.9 compared to 83.9. And our utility billing expenditures, right now we're at 81% of total budget. This time last year, we were at 99.4. So we have found a way to slow down some of our expenditures on that end. Stormwater fund, drainage fees, 74.8. Last year is 85%. Again, these are 1 month behind. We didn't have that problem last year. Our expenditures were at about 6% slower pace than last year. You can see our working capital in the stormwater fund is extremely healthy. Jumping down to the EDC, our sales tax revenue at 65%. This time last year, we were at 79%. Rental fees for the shopping center, 87% compared to 88% last year, so still on a good pace. Our operations expenditures are about 25% less at this point than we were last year. And our shopping center expenditures were only at 25%. This time last year, we were at 43%. And our fund balance at 714 days of reserve. This time last year, we were at 478. That's the summary. Are there any specific questions I can address?
Mr. Horton, one of the things we've been looking at, some of the council members have asked if we can move forward and possibly make a purchase with a patrol vehicle out of this current budget. Do you see any reasons why we would not be able to move forward if we chose to go that direction?
No, our projected surplus, even with that vehicle purchase, it would still be $550,000. That's what we're projecting. We would have 136 days in our reserve at the end of the year, and that's at 37%. So we would still have a healthy reserve even with the vehicle purchase.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Just a quick comment for you. I'm told to tell you by Mr. Morris from TAD that they're not doing residential evaluations next year. They're not planning to do it the first 3 years of the new plan. I guess there was some sort of city council rumors going around Tarrant County that he wanted to clear up, so.
I mean, that was their own plan.
Just a heads up for you,
so
that's all.
if they're changing their own plan, that's curious.
Yeah, their plan
Who is
was,
this
as of
gentleman?
now, is not to do it next year it's not the first 3 years, and then do it every other year after that. As of now, that's the plan.
Okay, that's not their published plan, but I
know.
appreciate.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
Let
you.
me know if I need to write my congressman about it.
Thanks, sir. Now we're going to move to our consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull to discuss?
I'd like to pull item 4.
All right.
I would like to pull item 3.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, then do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 and 2?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda 1 and 2.
I'll
we have a-
second.
All in favor? All right, and for the record, all opposed with a like sign. Madam Secretary, the motion passes 4-0. All right, consent agenda item 3, ordinance number 786 regarding settlement between ACSC and the Atmos Energy Corp.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess the reason I wanted to pull this is in July, we had a consent agenda item that was regarding us on-court increases that are coming. We let that go through on consent. That's not permanent, that's not approved yet. I think that's still negotiation. So we have on-court increases coming, we have Atmos increases coming, and everyone's already not happy with their water bill. I think we all agree on that. So I only ask for this to be pulled so that we can talk to the city manager and this council of, we need to communicate this to the residents that they're going to see their utility bills continue to go up. Water, gas, and electric soon. Let's just get in front of that so we don't have social media and uproar about it, please. That's it.
Each year, we partner with a law firm to help negotiate increases, decreases, any expenditures, funding, resources with Atmos or Encore, any of our utilities. The law firm that represents us has fought with Atmos to decrease those. It was dropped, I can't remember the exact numbers, but they have represented us in a positive manner, which was a huge decrease, which ultimately, although it's still an increase probably overall, it has been minimized partnering with this law firm. And we're not the only one. It's pretty much the whole state of Texas partners with this law firm to go in and battle the increases for any of the utilities. And that's what this is coming for. We do it every year. Law firm goes out and fights for us every year, and it is very beneficial for us.
Right. The ordinance, it's written by lawyers, of course, and so if I'm interpreting it correctly, average monthly increase is about $8. Not huge, but not nothing either. Commercial customers would be about $26. So again, let's just get the communication out there, please.
Absolutely, that's correct.
Mr. Mayor, if there's nothing else, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 786 regarding settlement between ACS.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
All in favor? And for the record, all opposed with a like sign. Madam Secretary, the motion passes 4-0. All right, consent, or item number 4, accept resignation of Councilmember Chris Gary.
So the reason I asked for this to be pulled, just to get a couple of questions. First of all, is a formal acceptance of a resignation like this, is this a standard protocol? I know that in the past few years, we have had other people who were elected resign. In each of those cases, was it brought before council to be formally accepted?
From our city attorney, it extended that we needed to accept the resignation.
Okay, that didn't exactly answer my question. Has that been the standard in the past?
It has been in the past to indicate it was each one of them, but it has been done in the past. We have accepted it by the council.
Okay, so this is a standard protocol. This is not something that we're suddenly doing in, okay.
Not that I'm aware of. We've accepted them in the past.
Okay, it just seems, I mean, if the person resigns, the person's resigned. It's not like we can refuse to accept it, and in any case, and compel them to come back. It just seems rather, I don't know, redundant.
I understand. The city had to publicly announce it on social media for the resignation. And the council has accepted resignations in the past. Even by law, it's accepted after a certain amount of time. And that time has been exhausted as well. But by the public, it's the city council's got to accept it and make a decision how we move forward to fill in that position.
Okay, that's the only reason. I just wanted some clarification about that. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Councilmember Chris Gary.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? And all opposed?
I'm abstaining.
All right. Madam Secretary, the motion passes 3-0 and 1 abstention. All right, so now we're moving items for individual consideration. That brings us to number 1, discuss and consider approval of bid award for health, dental, life, vision, and accidental death and dismemberment and voluntary life insurances, and authorize the city manager to sign the agreements. Open the floor.
So are these the insurances and benefits that were discussed in the presentation earlier? And only those?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Since you're there. I mean, obviously, it's something that we like to see, the better insurance for cheaper costs. Are you happy with the work that was done? Okay. With that in mind, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the city manager to sign the agreements for the health, dental, life, vision, and accidental death and dismemberment and voluntary life insurance. I know I went a long way around that.
I'll second.
Can you repeat it from memory without looking? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. All in favor? And for the record, all opposed with a like sign. Madam Secretary, the motion passes 4-0. And this brings us to our second item for individual consideration, resolution number R639, raise spending limits up to $100,000 for the city manager. Mr. Horton.
I'm just here as needed. Mr. Hull, do you want me to brief the?
Can I just, this is on the July agenda, they got punted over here. It was 50,000 in July, now it's 100,000. Can we just?
I can clarify that. I requested it because the state has a new law coming out that puts a pretty standard out there. It doesn't have to be 100,000. We can discuss that limit, but I wanted it changed to that max so we can discuss it. And I'll go ahead and start if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor. This is something that I've been talking about for a while. The limits were withdrawn from 50,000 a few years ago to 25. I understand the council at the time and their concerns with the former city manager to get some control over the government. I think that time is long past for us. We have seen since then an increase on the cost of things, where something cost $25,000 and now it's costing 50. We've seen the last couple of years the redundancy of approving something and then having the city manager come back to approve to write the check. For me, as long as there's communication from the city's manager's office, he's our general, let him do his job. As long as he communicates with the mayor or with council, again, I don't foresee that being a problem. For me, the $100,000 is no different than 75. It's just, if a pipe breaks, he can address it right away. He doesn't have to call a special session with us. He doesn't have to wait till next month. There's just certain things that he can approve that we expect him to approve and get it done because he's the city manager and that's his job. I think the increase that the state's recommending is valid. I think for a city of our size, of all the construction we're doing, all the big projects, $100,000 is not feasible. Anything more than that, it comes before us and the public anyways. So that's why I'm asking council to consider it. The reasons why we decreased it are just long past, and the jump from 50 to 100,000 is because of the state standard recommendations that they're doing starting September 1st.
Other questions, comments?
So I would be more comfortable with the 50,000 still. That's not a reflection of my opinion of the city manager, but just as a governing body so that we can just kind of keep a pulse, so to speak, on the finances.
How would you feel about 75 then? Because 50 is an inch, like 3% every year would put it at 50. And I'm thinking about the next 5 years, basically, of things that's going to be increased in the projects that we're going to do. There's just certain things that don't need to come back for $51,000 for us, like buying a police truck or a police car. If we approve him to go buy it, why bring it back to ask to write the check for $88,000? That's kind of where this is coming from. I know you're looking confused, but in the last 3 years, we've had several projects where we approved for him to do it, let's say at 50,000, and then the next month, he has to wait a whole month to bring it back to us to approve it again to write the check. And that's what I'm trying to eliminate, is just that step.
But I think you could do it differently and eliminate that step versus increase his spending limit.
It eliminates that step.
No,
So it's not like,
So I'm saying instead of increasing the spending limit, change the process or change the step so that he doesn't have to come back the next month to ask permission to write the check after we've already approved for the action we had. Does that make
correct.
sense?
To do that, we can increase the spending limit, and it does that.
But then it takes away the oversight.
How so? If we approve an $88,000 police car on this year's budget, why should he have to come back to approve to write the check? That's the step that we're trying to get rid of. The approval is already there. We've already approved it publicly. We're just allowing him the opportunity to go do the job that we're
But what about,
do.
okay, but what about unbudgeted items? So if it's not a police truck, to your point, you said, for crap.
So the other part of that would be, let's say a fire hydrant explodes and it costs us 60 grand. He's going to communicate with us anyways that's what's going on, and he can address it immediately within 24 hours. Instead of having us to come back and try to arrange things. It's just for minor things. $100,000 is not a big leap. It really is not for minor things in a budget our size. Anything beyond that are pretty big things and should come before us, and that's the oversight that we're giving them. We're not saying for him to come ask us permission to go to the gas station to fill his tank. We're saying, hey, any big projects still come back to us, but everything needed below 100,000, which is a lot of just simple things. We give him the freedom to do that. But what you're saying is there's no oversight. There is. He still communicates with us and the mayor about things going around town.
Again, not a reflection on the city manager at all, just simply saying, I would like to have, I hear you say that there's oversight. I know Daryl would communicate with us. Fast forward 5 years from now, we're gone, new city manager's here, then what?
Well, I don't like to work in hypotheticals,
I know,
first of
but
all. That's up to future council if there is an issue that was their fault for hiring that type of city manager. But in the end, he's a general. We don't micromanage generals. He needs to be able to have the ability to do the job. The withdrawal from 50 to 25 was at a time where council felt like there was some out-of-control issues around here.
Yep.
After careful evaluation, a lot of that went away.
I think Director Wharton has something to weigh in on here.
Just wanted to provide a couple of points of clarity. Whenever the budget is approved, it's approved at the fund level, so we have a maximum spend that's available. So this $100,000, whether it's 50 or 100, we can't go above that max spend unless we come back to you. So we wouldn't be able to exceed our budget. This would be purchases that are within the budget. If we're going to exceed the budget, we have to come back to you and ask for a budget amendment. So this would all be spending that's within what's been authorized already. We're not exceeding that, we're just asking, like Councilman Navarez says, potentially to remove a step.
I can give you a great example on that. A couple of years ago, the fire department was ordering bunker gear. It came in at $26,000. Even though it was a budgeted item, it still had to come back to council for us to vote on it a second time.
Like Councilman Glover said, what I'm about to say has nothing to do with a lack of confidence with City Manager Hull. But I have to agree with you. I know Councilman Navarez, you said, well, if they choose a bad city manager to follow him, it's on them. But the people who pay the price are the residents. And I think that in a city of our size, $100,000 is really a considerable amount of money. And it's our duty as council members to provide that direction and oversight to the city manager. And for any expense of that size, I think that the city council should be responsible for deciding how it should or should not be spent. It should at least, if nothing else, be brought before council so that it's on the record. And that in itself would eliminate potential issues.
Again, I'd still be more comfortable with 50,000, but question for Director Horton and maybe for the city manager. Is there a process that we could amend or change that would avoid the coming back twice?
Currently, all purchases over $25,000 do require city council approval.
Right.
If we moved it to 50, it would still require city council approval, be it through a budget or otherwise. But if it's, like we're discussing earlier, a city police patrol vehicle, that's $80,000. So in that case, if he has the approval authority and we're keeping underneath our budget, or within our budget, we could purchase that vehicle. If you move that down to 50,000, we'll have to come to you. At 25,000, we have to come to you. So that's like a real world example of the process we would have to do. There's really no way, short of it being in the budget precisely, that we would be able to miss a step.
But to Councilman Everett's point, he mentioned that we approve it in one meeting and then we have to come back and vote on it, writing the check in the next. I don't recall too many votes for writing a check. So help me understand that part of the process.
I mean, Kenneth gave a great example of that. That's happened several times before. The assumption I'm hearing from you guys is a corruption. How does increasing his spending limit to 100,000 have any risk of corruption? The things that need to be purchased are still brought before us. They're still communicated with us, no matter which city manager and which future council. And there is an exorbitant amount of increased costs of the things that he needs to purchase within a month. And it's within the budgets, within law. It's not like there's all of a sudden going to be corruption because it's $100,000 versus 50. I guess that's not where I'm just not following you.
So again, I'm not insinuating corruption. I'm just saying oversight. Like we're a governing
So
body.
my question to you is, how is it not oversight? If we still know and vote on something, for example, we'll take the police car. It's $68,000, $80,000. We still approve that. That's oversight. All he is going to be able to do is write that check without having to bring it back for another.
But that's the part I'm
approval.
not following on. And have I just been asleep during all these votes on check writing?
It's a two-step process, basically. You approve the budget that has all these items generally within it. With that, as far as our policy, by our financial policy, anything currently over 25,000, I have to get council approval. So what he's trying to eliminate, a car per se, if it does come in at 80,000, I have to come back to council to make the approval of the purchase.
And we ask you if it's an approved item, and you say, yes, it's in the budget, we say, okay, go ahead and do it, but that's
And it
still,
could be
that's our
some,
job.
it could be something we go and we put into the consent agenda, then we go from there. It could be a line item that we put in the agenda indicating we're purchasing this, just like we just done. If there's something you want to pull, I have more questions for, we can do that as well. And we just put it in the consent agenda.
Your confusion of the process is exactly what we're trying to eliminate. It is confusing and redundant in my opinion. It's happened several times. And I can think of a million reasons that are things of under $100,000 that I don't need to approve. I just need to understand that that's what's going on.
I could agree to the increase of 50,000. But I think when we're starting to look at 100,000, that's kind of significant. And that I just, to me, that's a lot. I could agree to increasing it to 50,000. And no, not 75. I just thought I'd stop you before you asked.
Again, I'll take the police car example. That is more than 50,000. We approve it. It's a redundancy. The increased cost, that car would have been 50,000 10 years ago. You know, it's not anymore. And it won't be, again, the $80,000 price in another 10 years. So again, I'm asking for compromise. What meets the state recommendation is 100. You guys want to do 50. Why can't we do 75? That'll cover the cost of things in the next 5 years at least before council would have to address this again.
What's wrong with just doubling it from 25 to 50?
Because it was reduced in the first place. It is doubling from 50 to 1,000. That's what it should be, is 50.
My number's 50, so that would be the motion I would be comfortable with for now. We can always revisit it later if we need to.
I'm just asking for a compromise. If y'all are not willing to, you can make the motion and we'll see where it lies.
Okay. I will make a motion to resolution number R639 with a change, raise the spending limits up to $50,000 for the city manager.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
All in favor? And all opposed? And I guess the mayor breaks a tie. I'll vote in favor. Motion passes 3-2. And I guess with that, I'll ask for everybody's favorite motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Point of order.
Sir.
I think a motion needs to be made for a approval of that. So there's a motion on the floor for 50,000, there should be a motion made to do the 100,000.
I'm not sure I agree with you, Kenneth.
So, Mayor,
the motion-
what did you vote in favor of?
Increasing the spending limit to 50,000.
Yeah.
But there was no motion on the floor for the increase of 50,000. There was a motion on the floor.
That's what you did.
Councilman Glover made the motion for 50,000. Councilwoman Kobeck seconded the motion for 50,000.
That was the motion that was on the floor to vote.
Okay, I'm completely lost.
Yeah.
So it's at 50,000.
Correct,
Okay.
currently, and that can be brought back up for discussion.
I think it got me with the tie and the vote and when you raised your hand. We're good.
All right.
Do you want to change your vote?
No, I was just, I lost clue of how he was voting.
I guess I could have eloquated that a little. Is that a word? No. I guess I could have stated.
Oh, you just made it one.
Okay. All right. Everybody's favorite motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a set? All right. It is 7:13 p.m. and the meeting is adjourned.